Hey everyone, and thanks for jumping back into the cryptoverse. Today we're going to talk about Ethereum. We're going to be looking at its current drop, but also look to see what could cause a rebound in the short term. If you guys like the content, please subscribe to the channel, give the video a thumbs up. Also check out the Telegram channel, which you can find a link to in the description below. So the game has not changed, right? The game that we play remains fairly constant each and every day, and that is Ether USD will likely drop, as well as Ether Bitcoin, if Bitcoin is falling. However, where we may see a rebound in the Ether USD valuation could be if Bitcoin is able to hold its 20-day moving average as support. You say, well, why do you say that? Well, if you look here, the last day when Ethereum had a nice little pullback on January 10th through the 12th, we saw Ethereum retrace by about 32%. The retracement ended on January 12th. So it was a 3-day retracement and it lost 32%. Well, why did it stop falling on January 12th? What caused it to stop falling on January 12th? Well, we know on January 12th, that is when Bitcoin rebounded off the 20-day moving average. So the 12th was the last day where Bitcoin was falling itself. So Bitcoin started falling on the 9th and the 10th. Ether did not start to have bad days until the 10th and the 11th and then the 12th. And again, the 12th corresponded to Bitcoin holding its 20-day moving average. And yes, it had wicks below it, but ultimately it rebounded back up. And it was during this phase when Bitcoin rebounded, 13th and the 14th, you can see on the 13th and the 14th, Ethereum started to move back up as well, but Ethereum kept moving up and put in a higher high. It went all the way up to 1440, which was a higher high in the short term, and also the prior all-time high. So basically, Bitcoin bouncing off the 20-day, and then even though it came down and moved sideways for a little while, this period here was enough for Ethereum to continue to make a fairly impressive move and continue all the way back up through the 19th before having a nice correction back down on the 21st. Well, what happened on the 21st is that Bitcoin decisively broke through its 20-day moving average. So what I would say is, if you're trying to gauge if Ethereum can bounce back or not, the first thing to look at, I think, would be the 20-day moving average. If Bitcoin is able to bounce off the 20-day moving average, then we would likely see a fairly nice Ethereum bounce. Okay? In that situation, we would likely see a nice Ethereum bounce. And then you might say, well, that's obvious, right? Why talk about that? I mean, if Bitcoin goes up, yes, Ethereum will go up. The reason why it's important is because if Bitcoin does bounce and then stabilizes for a little bit above the 20-day moving average, then this is what last time caused Ethereum to go on a fairly sizable rally. From the bottom of the wick, it rallied back up 57%. Okay, so 57%. And we know that it dropped about 32% during this pullback. If you go look at the current day, how far has Ethereum pulled back? Well, it's pulled back about the same amount if you go to the bottom of the wick, about a 33% pullback. Why? Well, the market conditions are very similar so far. Bitcoin is not fallen below the 20-day moving average, but it did have a nice correction. So Bitcoin has a nice correction, Ethereum will correct more. And this is why we've seen 32% correction over here and a 33% correction right here. The way in which we would see an Ethereum rebound, again, is if Bitcoin is able to hold the 20-day moving average. If it does, we will see a rebound, most likely, in the Ethereum USD valuation. And then if Bitcoin stabilizes, we would then expect the Bitcoin valuation, the Ether Bitcoin valuation, to bounce back as well. Unfortunately, there is no free lunch in these markets. Again, there's always the risks you take, just like there was the risk we took over here when hoping that Bitcoin held it, because if it did, it was good for Ethereum. It held it, Ethereum rallied. As we saw, and then it continued to rally throughout a lot of January and even into February. Ethereum has continued to rally. So this pullback is a fairly normal pullback in terms of crypto. 33% might seem like a lot, but we in fact experienced this same pullback not too long ago. Now, where the risk comes in is if Bitcoin does not hold the 20-day. So we always have to consider our risk involved in these markets. So if Bitcoin does not hold the 20-day moving average, then the next place to look would likely be, say, the 50-day moving average, which is all the way down here at around $40,000. Now, if Bitcoin drops from here to, say, the 50-day moving average, which would be another 16% drop, it wouldn't necessarily be that surprising to see Ethereum drop at least 16%, which would take it down to the $1,300 range. It might even drop more. It might even go to the $1,200 to $1,300 range if Bitcoin were to drop to, say, the 50-day moving average in the short term. Okay, these are the risks you take with the market. Again, we've often said on the channel, it's not wise to chase pumps. There's certain levels that make more sense to come in. This is why we talked for at length for a long time about getting in before parabolic moves up. According to our fair value line, Ethereum, according to that, is still somewhat overvalued if you're just looking at, say, this line. The common misconception, though, is that it could be years before we go back to this line. In the same way, it took us from February of 2017 when we left it, or so, all the way until December of 2018 till we returned the last time. There's no guarantee that we return to this band anytime soon, and if we extend this out and it continues moving up, by the time we return to it, the price of Ethereum could be, or the fair value of Ethereum could be much higher than it currently is today. But anyways, the channel focuses, generally speaking, on not chasing pumps, right? Not chasing pumps, but looking to get in when the market pulls back, or whenever you're in these key accumulation phases. We were so lucky to be in this accumulation phase for so long. If we ever go back to that accumulation phase, I'm not saying we have to go back to this level to be in an accumulation phase, but if we ever have that again, just remember how, recognize it for the opportunity that it is. So I would say right now, buckle up. We'll see if Bitcoin can hold the 20-day moving average. If it bounces, probably good things for Ether USD. If it stabilizes, which is exactly what it did over here, then I would expect Ether Bitcoin to bounce back up. Hopefully this video has been informative. If you guys like the content, make sure you subscribe to the channel, give the video a thumbs up. Also check out the Telegram channel, which you can find a link to in the description below. Remember, we also have the premium list sale going on, so check out that. You can find a link to that in the description below. You get access to the weekly reports, the weekly videos, the risk dashboard, the Telegram alerts channel, the Telegram chat room, and the premium only live streams, and the trading view indicators. So you get access to a whole lot of stuff. If you're interested in that, make sure you check it out. So bull markets are not all fun and games, right? We have pullbacks from time to time. It all depends on what Bitcoin does. If you're curious as to whether Ethereum will make a very significant pullback, look to see if Bitcoin holds the 20-day moving average. If it doesn't, expect a pullback and we'll regroup and hopefully trend back up later on. Remember, in terms of the grand scheme of the market cycle, we still have, theoretically speaking, we still have a long ways to go. I think this market cycle will take a lot longer than it currently is. It's going to be a bumpy road. But hopefully the road will end near a 5-figure Ethereum. But again, it's going to take us a while to get there. Thank you guys for tuning in. Subscribe to the channel. I'll see you next time. Bye.